We welcome everyone and thanks to our team, Josh and Isabella, for recording this. It will be available later on our YouTube channel. So thank you all. So welcome to Brunch and Learn with Community Action. My brunch is this warm cup of coffee. I hear a rumor that there might be bagels in our office kitchenette, so I might grab one of those after a while. But we started back in the before times, before the pandemic. We did these sessions as lunch and learns after our monthly board meetings. And it was a chance for board members, community partners, and our own staff to learn more deeply about a large community need, what the community is doing about it together, partnerships, coalitions, community level planning. And then we focus in on what is community action's role in those community solutions. So we will hear more from our own programs usually during these sessions. This year we've done these brunch and learns on energy and utility assistance, education and employment resources, street outreach, and more. Today's topic is one that I think everyone's going to really enjoy learning about. It's called Skagit Vets Connect. And Skagit Vets Connect is more than just community action programs. So you're going to be hearing from a whole bunch of folks working together for the betterment of veterans in Skagit County. So for those of you who may not know community action, our mission is to help stabilize lives and equip families to get ahead on their goals. Those are our direct services. And today you're going to hear about how Skagit Vets Connect works with all of our community action programs and partners out in the community to stabilize and equip veterans and their families, sometimes even after the veteran has passed on. For more information about community action, we like to train up our partners to check out our brand new shiny website. Thank you, Isabella Ordonez, for helping to lead the way, and Emily Crayville on our communications, community engagement and development team. And what we're going to talk about today, Skagit Vets Connect, you can find two ways. One, you can go to I'm looking for, and these are types of services or questions that clients might have about food, urgent needs, help paying bills, housing assistance, services for seniors and adults with disabilities. And right here down towards the bottom is services for veterans. We also have job skills, women, infant, and children, and energy and utility assistance listed out there under I'm looking for. We also have all of community action services by program and department name under the services tab. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. But first, I want to let you know who we're going to be hearing from today. And that is our Skagit Vets Connect team. Their office is located in Burlington. We'll show you a map in a little bit, but they provide services in every corner of Skagit County to veterans who need them. And the folks we're going to hear from today are Carmina Villalobos, our Community Actions Veteran Assistance Coordinator. Wave, Carmina. Hi. Vernon Hunter, Community Actions Veteran Care Manager and Disabled American Veterans Department Service Officer. Hi, Vernon. Chris Diaz, who is Skagit County Veterans Specialist and Accredited Service Officer, so a partner who works for the county and is co-located at Skagit Vets Connect Center. And then our friends Susan Brisby and Kelly Blau, who are actually VA employees, the Department of Housing and Urban Development and Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing Social Workers. You're going to hear these acronyms called HUD and VASH. That's Housing and Urban Development and the Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing. We'll come back to that. And then one other community action staff member, Raymond Irving. who is SSVF, Supportive Services for Veterans Families, which is a program of Community Action's housing program. So to get started, we're going to probably have about 40 minutes or so of presentations. I've got my eye on the clock, and if I need any of our speakers to cut it short, I might do a little timeout along those lines. So thanks for your patience. We're going to start with Carmina. So when I started at Community Action over 10 years ago, I think, Carmina, you were the only designated Veterans Services staff member at Community Action. Maybe just tell us a little bit about who you are and your background, and then I'll ask you some questions about our services.
Sure. Good morning. I started with Community Action doing veteran services in 2008. At that time, Sarah Hinman, who's now with Skagit County Public Works, was the Veteran Assistance Coordinator then. So I took over in 2008 in combination with my supervisor. And so she was doing some of the administrative leave part of it, and I was doing the direct services for veterans. A few years later, I believe, we did also have a veteran service officer who would come into Community Action on Fridays and help clients or veterans fill out claims. That was once a week, so it's not really meeting the demand. But that's what we had then among some other veteran service organizations that were also filling in those gaps. I'm not sure how many years after, but then we have the HUD-VASH worker come into Community Action with the HUD-VASH program and Section 8 vouchers to work with, sorry, go ahead.
That's the Veterans Administration staff member. So you had a county staff member coming in and working with veterans once a week, and then the VA VASH voucher is, say it again, it's Section 8, which is basically a housing subsidy.
Yes, yeah, it's a partnership with Housing Authority with Section 8 vouchers and the VA to provide the supportive housing. And actually the service officer back then was working through the state. He was a volunteer. He was accredited to, I'm not sure what veterans organization, it was many years ago, so I can't quite remember when it was, but I know he was a state employee and would volunteer his Fridays to come in and work with veterans at that time.
And then over time, we were lucky and were able to bring on Vernon. And how long has Skagit Vets Connect as a service center been around?
It was summer of 2019, I believe. So about 3 years this last summer. Yes.
And it's, for folks who haven't been there, it's a lovely space. Yes. I'm going to show you a picture of it, the outside of it here. We've got veterans, sharing screen. So it is the Robert M. Gates Skagit Vets Connect Center, and it is located at 160 Cascade Place in Burlington. And it's named after former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates, who is a Skagit County resident and helped provide some of the funding to launch Skagit Vets Connect. And the building that it's in, Vets Connect, is one of the offices on the first floor of this lovely building in Burlington, where our energy and utility assistance is also located on the first floor. And then on the second floor, Community Action is redeveloping that underutilized commercial space into 34 apartment units. And we're going to hear more about that in a little bit. But before that, we usually start out these conversations talking about what is the need. So when we're talking about veterans, the needs we're talking about are the three things that Community Action works on and our partners are working on, which is housing, food, and basic needs. And because Community Action is the front door to homeless services and coordinated entry for the community, Skagit Vets Connect plays a role in that as well. There are over 10,000 veterans who live in Skagit County. People have served in all branches of the armed services. And for this team, we're estimating that the Skagit Vets Connect team across all of the organizations partnering together have at least 1,000 contacts a year with veterans and their families. Just for community actions portion of the services that you're going to hear about, agency-wide, including Vets Connect and other services, Community Action last year served 338 veterans, or that was the last calendar year. And to give you an idea of the needs of the population that Community Action serves, 64% of those 338, 64% are disabled. So over half are disabled, and then 62% are over the age of 60. So it's largely seniors and veterans with disabilities. It's also important for us to point out the role of our East County Resource Center in Concrete. And they up there and our partners have served 74 veterans in the last calendar year. Same percentage, 64% of them are disabled, but an even higher percentage, 75, 3/4 of the veterans served in East County are seniors. And that generally tracks with other data that we see about the population in East County. It does tend to be lower income and older than other parts of the county. So that's a little bit about the people. Carmina, can you tell us a little bit about the needs you hear about? And then I'll ask you about the program. So you administer funds that come through the county. Community Action administers some of those funds called VAF, Veterans Assistance Funds. And I believe that this is actually a county tax funded program, and I'm sure Chris can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but those funds come into a pot and you're able to use those funds to help veterans and their families who might be experiencing some kind of crisis. Can you start by just telling us a couple of stories of the kinds of calls you get, the situations that a veteran or their family might find themselves in, and they get referred to you, or they hear about Vets Connect and they pick up the phone? Because that's one of the big takeaways today, is that all 51 people on this call today will know how to make a referral to Skagit Vets Connect. So when you answer the phone, what kinds of stories do you hear about?
There's a lot of need. Excuse me, a lot of it is housing, focus around housing, needing either emergency shelter because they're completely on the streets, or trying to avoid eviction. The great thing about the Veteran Assistance Fund, it's not such a black and white program. It has a lot of gray areas, so we're able to assist with a lot of areas that other programs or services would not be able to. We've been able to help a veteran to get a water heater, so he has hot water at home. We've been able to pay some college books to continue and having veterans go through schooling. We've been able to buy laptops, along with all those services that we do, where we do provide some assistance with rentals so they're not being evicted, or we have some funding to put them in motels for a short period of time of emergency shelter, depending on the situation. That's kind of about the program. Like I said, it's just very different situations. We have to try to meet veterans where they are and see how we can assist to moving them and passing that crisis at the moment.
Thanks, Carmina. I'm going to turn now to Vernon and remind us of your role at Community Action and what your background is. How did you come to this work, and tell us a little about your relationship with being a veteran.
Good morning. It's great to be here, and very nice to see a lot of faces on the screen here. My role here, first started here, I was a case manager, and I worked with Carmina, and she would refer veterans to me. How it works is a veteran comes in for critical needs, and Carmina supports that critical need with a voucher, with the VAF voucher program. Then there are times where there were many times when the veteran would come back the next month and the month after that. And then Carmina decides, you know what, I need to assign you to a case manager because we need to find out where we can help you a little bit better than what we're doing right now. So I do the case management, full-blown case management on a veteran, and that includes assisting them with a formal budget, referring the veteran for some potential income, whether it's employment or if it's a senior veteran, some other programs that the VA will have, as well as the county.
So Vernon, it sounds like that first step, the first call might be Carmina helping to meet an immediate need of a veteran or a family who is facing a crisis or a problem that can be a light touch. It might be solved with just one-time help. But if it's clear that this is an ongoing situation, they get referred into case management with you or one of our partners. And before what I'd like to do is just to show on screen that assessment that you do to see what types of resources might be helpful for that family. But can you just tell us a little bit more about your background? How did you get interested in doing this work?
This is where I get modest. I was in the U.S. Navy, and I served 35 years in the U.S. Navy. I went in at 17. I came out of the U.S. Navy during the hard times of 2013. I retired from the Navy, and I had these huge goals of working for Boeing Aircraft Company, because that was my expertise, is aviation maintenance. And there was a machinist union strike and a whole bunch of other things going on, and no one was really hiring. So I thought I was going to get out and just make the big bucks. And to shorten the story up a little bit, I started volunteering, and that's what the military was pushing. And I started volunteering, and I volunteered for the DAV.
And what's the DAV?
Disabled Americans Program. It's a service organization along with the American Legion, Veteran of Foreign Wars, and others. So I started doing volunteer work with them. That's how I started the claim work. After that, I was hired by Community Action as a case manager. Started working with Community Action, and I just found my niche. Believe it or not, I got called by Boeing to go to work because I had a resume in with them. I decided not to because of family impact, and I was very happy about what I was doing supporting veterans. And the 35 years they gave me was a positive, and I wanted to give back in some way to assist other veterans as well. So that's my role. I've been doing this for about 9 years now under Carmina, and this thing has evolved. Of course, the establishment of Vets Connect in 2019, and also the partners that incurred with the Vets Connect Center. And I can't say enough about the partners, but I'm going to let them speak on their part. But the partnership and how they have Vets Connect and the service organizations outside of Vets Connect and the support resources we have, we're going in one direction now, and it's going to get better. And that's what we really need. So we're just growing every year, and having Chris Diaz come on board from the county as a veteran specialist and a service officer, and then our VA personnel, Kelly and Susan, coming on board for our homeless programs. And then, of course, we have Raymond, who is our, I'm going to let him do the acronym, SSVF care manager.
Services for Veterans Families.
Thank you. I can't remember all the I know the acronyms, but I can't remember the words.
You're from the Navy. You should be good with acronyms. Well, thank you for sharing your story, Vernon.
Sure.
I think it's really important for our partners and our own staff to understand that a part of what community action is, like part of our founding principles, is a concept called maximum feasible participation. And that means that this is not an organization that does charity or handouts. It is people with lived experience helping others with lived experience. And so that's why I like to ask about the backgrounds and how our staff got to this work, because as you can see, it makes a big difference when somebody has the same experience of the person they're serving. So I'm going to just show on screen right now. So we're going to walk that path with a client, someone who maybe came in for a car repair or for that laptop so they could continue their education, and they started building a relationship with Carmina. But maybe they also then came in and needed a bill paid, and it was clear that they might need a little bit more than a light touch to get ahead. And what Vernon and our partners at Skagit Vets Connect do is they really look holistically. Like Vernon was talking about, there's a whole ecosystem of support and organizations that are moving in the same direction to help veterans. And it starts with really putting the person, the program participant, the veteran or the family at the center of solutions, to set their own goals and to say what they need, rather than us as an organization or as a team telling them what they should be doing. So I'm going to just briefly share screen. Is that services assessment up?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to scroll through this, and why don't you just talk a little bit about the kind of conversation that you have with a veteran, because this is a population who doesn't like to ask for help. This is a population who's very proud of being able to fend for themselves and do well for their families. So can you just tell us a little bit about how, when you have this 6-page assessment in front of you, Vernon, how do you have that conversation to put a veteran at ease, and what kinds of questions are you asking?
Well, I will tell you, just from some serious lessons learned doing this over the years, is I have to let the veteran be in charge. It's their life, and I'm there to assist the veteran in making things better for the family, themselves and the family. So I use this assessment form right here, just trigger, and it's organized. This was provided to me when I was first employed as a case manager, and have gone through some iterations. But as you can see, we touch on everything, just about. And there are times we need to update this because the world is changing as well. And then when we get down to the stability plan, this is what they feel that they can do, and with a little bit of coaching. And I like to use the word coaching when we're talking to a veteran. They don't want to be managed. So that's the type of work that I do as a care manager. And we try, and then we get to the point to where they don't need the assistance again, and then we exit them from the program. But we're always there for them if they need us again.
And so there's some things that you do that are coaching, and there's some things that you do as information and referral, of helping them understand what resources are available and how to navigate systems to get what they need on their own. Do you do actual kinds of application assistance with them? And if so, what kind of paperwork do you help them with?
Great question. So when a veteran is coming to us, it's probably most likely because of low income. VA has a lot of resources to help veterans, but trying to navigate that is just about impossible for the average veteran out there. And so we have people like Chris and I that we are service officers. And so we try to increase their income through VA. They may have a disability where they were injured in service and have never filed a claim before, didn't know it existed. That's what we're for. And we're looking at it holistically, not just the claim, but we get some referrals over to Carmina, Susan, and Kelly with HUD Vash, and Raymond to help as well. So that's basically how we kind of bring our veterans in and try
Thanks.
to assist them.
Thanks, Vernon. And one thing to point out for our partners is that that system that Vernon is describing of putting the program participant at the center and listening to what they want and letting them drive the conversation, and then providing information about all of those different ways to increase income or to help pay the bills so that what little income they've got coming in can go further. That model is what we call care coordination at Community Action. And the idea is that anyone who walks through the door at Community Action, they may just need that light touch service, or they may need a little bit more of the coaching about what's available in the community, or help with the goal setting, or help with the budgeting, help filling out paperwork for health insurance or other benefits. So things like energy assistance, women, infant, and children program, basic food, all of those other things that Community Action does, that's what Skagit Vets Connect is doing for a specific population.
Yes.
And yeah, go ahead.
Let's we talk about this, but I really want to put an emphasis on how hard this is. This is not easy stuff. Our veterans come in with very different type of situations. It's not a check in the block. Well, we can do this for you, we could do that for you, and we'll get you back on your feet. Every veteran has a unique situation, and it takes a team to help that veteran. It's not Vernon. It's not Carmina. It's not the VASH folks, SSVF folks. It's the team. And I do walk around and ask questions. Okay, Carmina, what do we have for this? I can't remember some things, but how can I help this veteran? And we just put our heads together. And there are ways that we do that internally as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Vernon. And that's a perfect segue to Chris. Chris Diaz, are you on the call? Let me see.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Chris.
Yeah.
Hello. We're getting some questions about healthcare and mental health care, but I want to make sure we get through from you and our friends at the VA and Raymond from SSVF. So Vernon described a part of his job that is similar to your job. Tell us more. You start out by first telling us who you are and how you got to your job with the county.
Yeah, so I was in the Navy from 1997. Oh, wow. 1997, spent some time in the Middle East, got out in 2006, became a contractor after that for another 9 years. And then went back to college, got operational management degree, and then started working for the college as a veterans education officer, certifying all education's information. And then this job came about, and then I just decided kind of at the last minute to apply for it, and I'm glad I did. So I felt like I was able to open my wings a little bit and get a little bit more done in the county, because it was really hard at the college, because it's, we're just trying to help with the college there. So but yeah, and now I'm here today and I'm loving the job.
So tell us your title again, and then in addition to the kind of case management, I know you do that assessment and wraparound services with folks. What else is the county's role, is your role with Skagit Vets Connect?
So when it started, it was 80% claims benefits and 20% outreach. And then it's kind of evolved, and, I have two great people that are watching over me, George and Sarah, and making sure that I'm getting everything I need to help vets and their families. So the wraparound service part of it is just an extension of what the wraparound services are here. So this is just like every, the VA has all their website stuff, and navigation, but there's like it's like that one wraparound service, and then attached is a wraparound, like a spider diagram almost. And you have all these other ways of helping folks. As long as, you know, you start off with great customer service, you find out what's going on, and then you're able to pivot them towards the right direction.
And there's something else about your role. Do I understand correctly that one of your roles for the county is to kind of be a content specialist in advising the county commissioners on policy and budget and things like that? Is that, or might be getting that wrong? So what's your role outside of providing the direct services, but in helping to guide the county or advise the county decision making?
Well, November 7th will be my first briefing to the commissioners, hopefully one of many. But we have a good plan together. I think we'll be talking about that today. But yes, so we'll be talking about, you know, the data that I can pull from our Tyler system about that goes to the VA. For example, you know, you mentioned 1,000 count last year, I guess was helped. Right now I'm at 118 into the Tyler system, and that's not even including the Q&As and the other things that we've done.
Yeah, that 1,000 was a guesstimate on just even phone calls and information and referral, and doesn't count everyone who got an official service. So
right, yeah. So that's what I was saying. Like this is just a good example of there's a lot of veterans and their families out there that really need these services.
And so say it again, on Monday, November 7th, in advance of Veterans Day, you and others from Skagit Vets Connect will be presenting to the county commissioners. What time and where, and how can people find out more?
Let me look at the calendar here. It's the 7th, I think, at 9 a.m.
And we can get that out via email to everyone afterwards and double check.
The 7th. I'm sorry, 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. On the 7th. Yeah.
And that's at the county commissioners office on Continental Place.
Correct.
All right. Well, tell me, you've got a role with VAF. So give us a picture of this. We heard that Carmina has a pot of funds called Veterans Assistance Fund that she can tap into. It's flexible. It's not as much of a square box like a lot of programs are. So she can be creative in helping veterans with their needs. This is county funding. It's an important source of money. And then there's a group, an advisory group that advises on how those funds should be used with what Carmina's doing and in other ways. Can you tell us a little bit about who that group is and what your role is?
Yeah, so right now it's kind of evolved as well. So I start with meeting with the executive board to go over what's been happening over the last month, what's coming up, kind of set up an agenda. And then the board meetings are the second Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. at the commissioner's building in the Skagit room. And there's on our website, there's actually a link to anybody can be in the meeting to listen and learn about what we're talking about. And our council's made up of many service organizations, like including the VFW, American Legion, and then there's also the folks that are non-veterans that are supporting veterans, like, you know, our friend Sue Gregg from the Elks. But our growth as far as service organizations are growing. We're about to trying to get on. We have a veteran that's director of Meals on Wheels, who is going to probably join our board. We also have the Daughters of the American Revolution. They have a couple of veterans that are interested in joining our board as well. So grow, you know, we're trying to grow. And then, yeah, so the assessed value of your homes in Skagit County, every $1,000 is a tax of 0.001127, I think is the number that goes towards this fund. And as the home values go up, the fund grows. And as you know, we've been in COVID and out of that, and you know, we have funding there that's been being utilized and used for a lot of different new things, housing and new exceptions to not qualifying, things like that. So we've been finding new ways to use the money.
Thank you, Chris. I do want to make sure we've got enough time for our friends from the VA as well, but I don't think county staff, I don't know, but I don't think county staff can advocate for things like taxes, but Community Action can say thank you to everyone here who's a taxpayer and for helping to fund and to continue your support, your moral support and your political support for this important funding in our community. So we're going to get to the housing issue next. I'm going to ask Kelly and Susan from the VA who are co-located. And then I just have to say, one of the things that I love about this team is Kelly started out as a volunteer with Community Action as an AmeriCorps Vista or an AmeriCorps, straight AmeriCorps member, right? Yeah. Back when I started in 2010, she was a volunteer with us and went and got her social work degree and came back and started working with Susan, working for the VA, but with the Community Action team. So Susan or Kelly, who would like to go first and tell us a little bit about your role at Skagit Vets Connect? And also introduce yourself and how you got into this work. I told some stories about Kelly, but maybe Susan could share with us.
Hi, good morning. I was going to give a nod to you, Liz, as my first AmeriCorps supervisor. That it wasn't too long ago, I guess. And after I did 3 terms of AmeriCorps under kind of the umbrella of Community Action and different housing services, and eventually landed in SSVF for a couple of years, which inspired me to go to grad school. And I've been kind of pursuing this role with the VA. So I'm pretty new here. I've been here just under a year, and Susan's really the rock of the VA here in Skagit County. So we're a team of 2 here. Anyway, like I know it's been stated, but HUD-VASH is a fancy acronym for U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, VA Supportive Housing. It's a partnership between HUD and the VA. Combines Section 8 vouchers with VA supportive services to help veterans who are experiencing homelessness to find and maintain permanent housing. So the Section 8 voucher subsidizes rent so that eligible veteran and their family only pay approximately 30% of their income in rent in an affordable unit. Skagit has 60 total vouchers. We have 50 tenant-based and 10 project-based. Tenant-based voucher is a voucher that stays with the veteran. The veteran selects an affordable unit in the county. Any affordable unit. A project-based voucher is a little different. The voucher is attached to the actual unit itself. We're super excited. We have 2 projects nearing completion here for our first project-based vouchers. We have 8 with the new Housing Authority building and 2 with Martha's Place over by, you might have seen that project over by a WorkSource going up over there. So we're really
Kelly,
excited.
I'm just going to stop you for a minute, and it makes me want a visual for this. Josh, I'm looking at you and your creativity. So what we've got here is 2 things. One thing is the voucher, which helps pay for housing. So the person you're serving is a homeless veteran. Is that correct? Or at risk?
Correct.
Okay. And so the voucher is helping them secure the housing, helping them pay for the housing.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is your role and Susan's role? Because it's not just housing, it's an acknowledgement that sometimes housing isn't enough. There's also those supportive services that need to go with it. So what is that second role?
Yeah, it's partnerships, and it's also direct service. It's partnership with coordinated entry for getting the referrals quickly and identifying veterans for the program. It's a really important part in partnership with the Housing Authority of Skagit County for vouchering, getting vouchered quickly and supporting the housing stability of the veterans holding the vouchers, and of course the VAF and service officers here under this roof at Cascade Place. So the actual direct service case management role is through licensed clinical social workers. So it's high level care. So let me see. We use, of course, evidence-based practices. We do biopsychosocial assessment create treatment plans to match veterans' needs, acuity level, so their level of need and care, and it determines how frequently we see them. So at first, when we first start working with a veteran, the contact is pretty frequent, very frequent in some cases. But then as they stabilize, we use a housing first approach, meaning we put an immediate and primary focus on quickly accessing permanent housing. And then we're doing home visits very frequently at first until we can identify indicators of stability, and then we see them less and less. This case management also looks like ongoing psychotherapy. I mentioned the treatment plan, motivational interviewing, harm reduction. And then, another big part is because we're VA employees, connection to VA services. We have the Mount Vernon community-based outpatient clinic, and Everett has a new one also, and then connecting veterans to the Seattle VA. And all of our documentation is in that within that system. So that's a great asset for continuity of care.
Thank you, Kelly. We are going to move on to another community action staffer, Raymond, but I just want to say a huge thank you to our friends at the VA and Susan for helping to build Skagit Vets Connect to what it is today, the partnerships that you've brought in, as well as the people you've served. And for those in the audience, this whole thing about the VASH vouchers is kind of a big deal. Skagit County was one of the counties in Washington state that did not have this resource. We had not, as a county, been issued VASH vouchers to use for this purpose. And now, did you say it's over 40, or how many do we have now, Kelly?
Yeah.
I think it's over 40.
Susan's going to chime in here.
Okay. While Susan's finding the unmute button, the thing to know for the audience is that community action and our partners, the Housing Authority, others, and the county, we advocated for getting these VASH vouchers issued for Skagit County so that we could serve veterans experiencing homelessness. Susan, how many are we up to now?
So we're at 60 now, and I've just applied for 20 more.
Woohoo! Can I get a woohoo from the audience for this partnership? That's 60 and maybe even 20 more veterans who had experienced homelessness that now have permanent supportive housing. So that means again that it is the housing subsidy and the case management to go along with it. And what I'd like to do now is go to Raymond from Community Action's housing program, another valued member of the Skagit Vets Connect system. And what is SSVF and how does that help with folks who might be struggling with their housing or other basic needs? SSVF, again, is supportive services for veterans families. And,
indeed.
Actually, first introduce yourself and how you came to this work.
No worries. Good morning, everyone. Name is Raymond Irving. I naval veteran as well. I served from 2001 to 2005. I actually served over at Whidbey Island. Moved away, moved back a few years later. Everything's different. Everything's good. Have a bachelor's degree in organizational leadership. Long story short, I try to live by this quote, I guess. A person has to lose their innocence to gain compassion. The reason why I say that is because, again, I actually was a person who was in need of service from community action. And you're very, very right. Vernon touched base on it and a few others touched base on it. For a veteran to be able to ask for help, it's one of the hardest things ever. So just the thing, being able to be a part of this, in need, and being able to get need, and to being able to serve and give back, it's a big thing for me. Yes. So what I do is just basically veterans. There are a lot of veterans here in our county who are definitely in need of assistance and help. what I do is just try to find housing for them. They do go through coordinated entry, and once coordinated entry puts them on our list, there again, we actually have the veterans, we have a meeting that's called the CAT meeting, Captain America team meeting. So that's something that we have every week. And we basically just talk about, the people who are on our list and the needs that they have. I do actually have one of those really, really boxed, very strict programs. My main thing is housing. And I lean on my co-worker veterans a lot, because again, there's everything that you can think of imaginable in regards to needs. Oh, trust me, they're there. They are definitely there. And again, I rely on Carmina and Vernon and Kelly, Chris, definitely Susan. Susan, she's hands down, I can't say enough about her, because again, she's a blessing in my life personally. But yeah, I depend on them a lot, because again, the things that I can't provide for my clients, I reach out to them, and as well others who may be able to assist with things that my program doesn't necessarily help with.
And so for housing, again, is that like rental assistance, maybe help with costs moving into a new unit? What does that actually cover?
Indeed. So again, hardest thing, as everyone knows, is finding housing in Skagit County. It's very, very challenging, to say the least. And there's a lot of people who tend to stay in this area. So we basically find whatever is available to fit their needs for their family. And again, we definitely rent whatever space that they have, whether it be apartment or house or condo or whatever. We provide rent for that. And as well, if they need basic furnishings and things of that nature, we actually provide those things, bedding, furniture. There's resources for that. So in a nutshell, anything that has to do with housing and keeping someone housed, that's kind of what we work with.
Thank you so much, Raymond. And that was a perfect tee up to come back to Carmina and wrap this conversation up, because probably everyone on this call knows the number one need facing everyone that we serve at Community Action is the high cost of housing. That makes it harder to get food, medicine, other basic needs. Those costs are going up as well. And so while we're hearing about these wonderful programs, it's like, yay, VASH vouchers exist. Yay, supportive services for veterans families exist. But it doesn't make a difference for that family if they can't find an apartment that those resources are allowed to pay for. So it has to be an affordable unit. So one of the things that Community Action and our partners are doing is this year, Community Action is opening 34 new units in Burlington above Skagit Vets Connect. It's called Cascade Landing, mostly small studio units, a couple of 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. And Carmina, can you tell us a little bit about that relationship between the VAF, county funding, and getting veterans actually in a unit, and to have a unit they can find there in Burlington?
Sure. So within our monthly meetings, we've been realizing that it's been, as everybody mentioned, there's a housing crisis and not much affordable housing. We are also limited on how many motels we can use. Through the VAF, we're able to provide emergency shelter for motel, and there's not very many motels that will work with us, and the amounts that they're charging is pretty excessive. And so part of that was in the hopes of using up to 10 units up in Cascade Landing. 2 of them would be transitional units for veterans who are going to be in the housing VASH program, and up to 8 subsidized units paid through VAF with case management with either Vernon or myself. And the model would be the same as the housing authority, with the veteran would not pay more than 30% of their income.
All right. Can I get another woohoo for that
Yes.
partnership with the county and the VAF, all of those service organizations who help advise that fund and guide that fund? Huge thank you to our commissioners for their support of this project and to county staff for working with us and making it happen. I think we have yet to make it official. There's still going to be a vote on it, but it looks like it's moving in the right direction.
And sorry, I just wanted to do a big shout out to our Veterans Advisory Board because they've been in full support and they know the needs out there and they'll be supporting 100% and want this to go forward.
So that's what it's all about. It's all about partnerships. And that is how Skagit Vets Connect, as Vernon said, got all of these groups in the county moving in the same direction. It's not any one organization doing it on our own. So Chris is asking, we do now have time for a few questions. Chris says, Carmina, oh, never mind. He's making a referral of a hotel manager that wants to talk to you. So thank you, Chris. You reminded me to say, what is our ask today with these brunch and learns? We like to end with how can you help everyone who is in this meeting? So number one is if you know a veteran who may have a need that you heard could be served, refer them to Skagit Vets Connect. That phone number, I'll ask one of our staff members to put the phone number in the chat and the web address again. Refer veterans in need to Skagit Vets Connect. And if whoever answers the phone can't help, as you heard, they're going to get a referral going to somebody who probably can. So what we like to say when you make a referral is call this number. Skagit Vets Connect may be able to help you. Don't make any promises. So referrals are number one. Number two is continue supporting the county in funding VAF and these resources. And then number three is support affordable housing in your neighborhood, because if those apartments get built, we can actually house more veterans who might need that housing. And then just what Chris demonstrated is if you know somebody who might want to help, a business, a motel, some other organization that would like to get involved, refer them to Vets Connect, and our team there, all the partners will figure out the best way to get them plugged in. So Isabella put in the link and Shelley has asked for the direct phone number, and we will copy that and put it in the chat. Does anyone have a question you'd like to ask? You can either just unmute yourself or raise a hand the Zoom way. Any other questions for anyone on the team or the group as a whole?
Liz, this is Vernon. I have one more comment, and
Sure.
I cannot let this close without recognizing our lobby staff. We have Janelle, who takes all of our phone calls and manage our lobby for us, as well as Jamie. So when you call Vets Connect, that's who you're going to be speaking with, and they're going to get you scheduled, talk things through to you to get to one of us. Of course, we have a lot of volume of people, and they're kind of managing our schedules to get the veterans in as quick as possible. So I would like to acknowledge their superb work on the front line.
Thank you, Vernon. Oh, we got some shout outs. I'm actually going to include on, oops, that was trying to play a video. I'm going to give you the link to Jamie's story. She actually did a video with us a couple of years ago, a wonderful veteran who was a client and shared her story, and she now is back working in our lobby. Any other questions for the Skagit Vets Connect team or any other partners that want to jump in? I see that there's a lot of those service organization partners. Go ahead, Susan.
I kind of just wanted to share for reference, since there's so many, a wide variety of people here. I would say on an average day, Kelly may have her own numbers on this, but I get referrals from the VA, at least 5 veterans a day, every day. And then I get probably another 10 to 15 phone calls from veterans all around the US every day. So it's very busy here. And I wish there could be more people. I'm retiring in a year, so there will be probably one more person coming in, hopefully, to take my place. But I just kind of wanted to give everybody an overview of how many people are calling up here. A lot of people I have to send to Snohomish County, they want to move up here because there is no available housing here. And the thing about Snohomish County, because the reason the voucher amount is so little here is because HUD does this 32-page compilation to figure out what it's going to be. And I swear to you, it's 32 pages. I passed out after page 3. And then, so they make the amount of the voucher based on population per square mile. As we all know, Skagit County has a lot of farmland. So the voucher amounts are lower than the other counties that are more populated. So if we can't find housing, I'll send somebody to Snohomish County whose vouchers are market value. And I don't know if you ever drive down to Snohomish County, but dang, there must be 5,000 apartment buildings just lining the freeway going down there now.
Thanks,
So,
Susan,
yeah.
for helping us understand the need, the volume of calls that you're getting. And also one of the challenges is that VASH formula is unfair to us rural areas where half our county is a national park. And we aren't getting enough, the value of the VASH voucher isn't enough to pay for local housing. Thanks for describing that. Nikki, you have your hand up. I think you get the last question or comment.
Oh, thanks. So Nikki, I work for Aging and Disability Resources at Northwest Regional Council. A large need that we see with our veterans are folks who are interested in seeing if they are eligible for any type of aid and attendance benefit for long-term care, which is an application we really have never done or are trained to help with. It's pretty complicated from what we've known. So is it an appropriate referral to send people to the Vets Connect Center to get that help with the aid and attendance application, like actual hands-on one-on-one help?
Chris, I'll take this if you don't mind. Yes, we do help with aid and attendance. I believe Chris does as well. And we run off of a checklist, and you're absolutely correct, Nikki. It is a very complicated process, but we do get our veterans through the process and get what they earned.
Thank you. Okay, great. I do send people, I have been sending people there. I just was not wanting to do it if it was just too much for you guys to manage, because I know it's intensive. So thank you.
I'd like to add something to that, Liz, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
The aid and attend, well, just remember for me, I'm supposed to be Skagit County, Snohomish County, Whatcom County. Vernon has a little bit more liberal to get other areas of the state to help. But if you send anybody my way, I will get them the VSO they need for whatever county they need. And if you guys ever want to work over and talk about the aid and attendance, and then the other folks that are out there helping veterans with aid and attendance in other ways, I can share that information as well.
Okay, we've got 2 minutes according to my clock. Raymond, can you make it quick?
Beyond quick. Okay, so for being able to house someone, it's very, very urgent that they go through our main office here at Pacific 330 Pacific Avenue to be able to get care coordination first. Because without them going through that channel, I can't get them the services that they need. So yes, Vet Connect is a good way to go, but as well, they have to go to sign up and get into the system through community action for me to be able to give them service and get them housed. I'm done.
Thanks, Raymond. And I put that phone number on there. Folks don't have to come in the front door, but just a reminder that coordinated entry is that first step for anyone who is currently homeless. So there's never a wrong referral to Skagit Vets Connect for a veteran. They'll figure out how to help and where to send them. But if it is someone who is literally homeless, The first step in Skagit County is getting into coordinated entry, and that's that phone number I just put in the chat, and it's also on the bottom of every one of our web pages at the Community Action website. So we are at time, and I would just like to ask everyone to say thank you to the Community Action staff and our partners here today. And thank you to any other veteran who is on the call today. Thank you for your service, and know that we're thinking about you this month and on Veterans Day, and every day we're thinking about you at Community Action. So this session will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel, and you can share it out widely. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your week.